So you also mentioned tiers of capital.
Sure.
What does that mean in terms of Middle Eastern investors, and could you expand on that concept a little?
Yeah. What I've done over the years as I've traveled through Saudi, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, there's a pool of, call it, 1,000 investors. I have kind of segregated them into 3 tiers. And the criteria that I use to do so are 2. The first is the amount of ticket sizes that they could cut for each deal or each opportunity. And the second one is consistency of capital. So the first tier is your sovereign wealth funds and SAMA. SAMA is a Saudi Arabian monetary agency. Every statistics that I've seen, they tend to group them in that tier. They are very big. So let's keep them in that tier. So tier 1 is your big sovereign funds and SAMA. This tier is clearly very large. This tier is very consistent with capital. They invest through cycles. Tier number 2, and I think for this group and for the rest of this interview, that is going to be the most important tier. This tier includes pension funds, insurance companies, asset managers, and multifamily offices. And what I mean by multifamily offices is a congregation of some of the smaller family offices that have got together and formed a 800-pound gorilla that needs to be reckoned with. This tier has the most amount of investors in just sheer number. This tier usually can comfortably do about a $50 million check for each opportunity, for each deal or each program that you might show them. Some could do more, some will do less. I mean, I remember dealing with an investor in this tier who was willing to do a $300 million check for one deal. If they like the deal, they have the capacity to do the deal. This tier tends to have a bigger allocation to real estate than the tier before. There are companies in this tier that have as much as 25% allocation to real estate. What else? And this tier tends to have the most Sharia-compliant investors also. This tier also has investors that have global presence. They have local offices. So, let's think about, asset managers like Arcapita or InvestCorp. These guys invest through cycles. They're very fluent in real estate investing, especially during kind of rising markets. Their clients have a huge need for real estate. Another participant of this tier is pension funds. Your PIF, your OIF, your GOSI. These guys are smaller pension funds compared to what we think of pension funds, but they're quite active, and they've just started becoming much more active in real estate. And one other attribute of this tier is the amount or the percentage with this tier is growing. Across all 3 tiers, the investors in this tiers are growing the most by a percentage basis. And there's, again, kind of 3 reasons for that. First is kind of trust and estate planning that's happening all across Middle East. The second is portfolio composition. And the third reason why this tier is growing is the new generation. A lot of the new generation that got educated in the US, Europe, has gone back and they're starting new companies. They're becoming more sophisticated. And your tier 3 is your banks, aggregators, and your small offices. And you'll notice I put banks and aggregators in that tier. But this tier is growing quite consistently too. The number of millionaires in the world by per capita or by households, highest in Qatar. 17.5% of all Qataris are millionaires. I mean, think about that.
I want to thank you, Piyush.
No
thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
all your help.
My pleasure.